Welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Quitting, where we are focused on quitting the habits that no longer serve us so we can elevate our health, our habits, and our happiness. I'm your host. My name is Gentry. I'm a divorced mom to 4 boys. I also am in a relationship with somebody that has 2 kids, so we have 6 kids total. And today I want to talk about parenting. So if you are a parent, and you'd like to hear some 5 things that I do to help my kids be successful, stick around because this episode's for you. Welcome to another episode of Addicted to Quitting, where we are focusing on quitting those habits. And today I'm talking about parenting. So I'm assuming that if you're still here, you're listening to this, you're a parent yourself. So how you doing? You're sticking in there. It's tough. I know. I genuinely believe that parenting is the hardest job in the world, like the hardest job. And it's the most undervalued job. Like we just expect us to do it, which we were made to do it. Like that's what somebody was like, messaged me the other day that they were pregnant and it was with their first child and they're really nervous about labor. And I was like, girl, we're made to do this. We're made to procreate. We're made to do these things. But just as the world has changed and there's so much more noise and there's so much more it's just different. Like it's not as much of a primal thing. Now our brains are just so hyper sensitive because of the constant overload of information into our bodies. Anyways, we're going to get through it. I promise you. I genuinely believe that parenting is the hardest job in the world. It is the hardest job in the world. And then you don't get paid for it. You spend a lot of money to do it. Like it is a very, very difficult job. And there's no rule book. There's no guide. There's no guide to a lot of things about life. Like life is just like, we have to trial and error. We have to like recovery. I talked to some people that got sober through AA. I got to talk to some people that got sober through counseling. I got to talk to some people that get sober through just white knuckling it or cold turkey. There's so many different ways to get sober. There's so many different ways to get healthy. There's so many different ways to parent. But the parenting one is really, really heavy because you don't want to screw it up. And I struggle with this a lot of like, man, am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this wrong? Like raise your hand if you struggle with this thought process. Like, am I doing this wrong? Am I handling this right? Am I doing like, I worry like, okay, I don't want to give them too much and then they don't understand the work ethic and the value of a dollar, but I don't want to give them not enough so that they're deprived and they don't have opportunities. Like it's just so hard to find the balance of parenting. And so what I've kind of done is I've tried to remove all of those like what ifs and am I doing this wrong and a lot of these like overthinking things that are happening in my brain. And I found that there's like 5 things that I do that I feel like are really, really helpful for myself as a parent and also for my kids. So I want to share with you guys those 5 things. And it kind of talks about different lessons behind each of these things. But number 1 is that I prioritize my self-care because I want to model healthy habits. It is really, really important for me to model healthy habits to my kids because I don't want them to grow up and become parents and then completely give up on themselves. Like that would be so sad for me if I was like, hey, guess what? You need to be healthy. You need to take care of your body. You need to work out consistently. You need to do all these amazing things. You need to grow. You need to foster your brain. You need to keep learning until you become a parent. And then when you become a parent, everything you do is only to be able to give it to your kids, and you should sacrifice all of your dreams, and you should not go to the gym because that'd be selfish. You should be spending every ounce of your time and energy into providing and into being with your kids. And I just don't want that for them. I don't want that for myself. I feel like we should get the opportunity to keep learning and growing and becoming a better version of ourselves, even if even if we are parents, instead of us having to like, oh, now that you become a parent, you turn around and you only focus on the next generation. And then their job is to get to a place until they could become a parent. And then they turn around and do the same thing. Like, I feel like it holds us back from actually growing. Does that make sense? If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see me like making this weird hand motion with my like, oh, turn around, watch the kid. They get that age. They turn around, watch the kid. Anyways, but I model self-care. So I work out. I have times without them that I go do things. And I used to feel guilty about that. Like I've gone traveling, I've gone and done some really fun excursions without them, and they've gotten a little bit jealous at times. But I think that it's important for them to understand that, like, I am still my own person too. Like, I don't have to take all four of you every single time I go somewhere. One, I can't afford to. Holy Hannah, there's four of you. Like, planes and trains and automobiles are expensive. So it's really, really important for me to show them, not just tell them they should take care of themselves, but show them what it looks like for an adult to take care of themselves. So they see me work out. They see me eat healthy-ish. I'm not going to lie. I'm not the best at eating healthy. They see me drink water, though. Hello, we got a water jug right here. They see me do things that are good for my mental health. They see me go to counseling. They see me trying to better myself. So I want them to see those healthy habits and model those healthy habits for them, because I think that it helps them have the permission to do those things for themselves in their childhood, in their adult or young adulthood, and in their parenthood themselves. So modeling healthy habits is really, really important. That's number one that I have on my list. Number two is this idea of 2/3 consistent. And I know that there's people that don't agree with this. Some people are like, we need to go hard. We need to go all the time. We need to be perfect. We need to have, and I shouldn't even say it like that, because your opinion is your opinion. I shouldn't say it like you're like this hardcore drill sergeant. But that doesn't serve me. That just does not serve me. I cannot work out every day. And if I tell myself I have to work out every single day, it actually fosters and like breeds more guilt and shame, because I don't, like, if I miss a day, I feel super heavy and bad that I didn't do it. Or if I screw up, like, if I expect myself to get 100% on everything that I say I want to do, and then I get less than that, I'm so focused on the 5% that I missed that I don't give myself enough credit for the net 95 that I got right. So behind me here, perfect example, there is a CPA license. I don't use it anymore. I am no longer actively working as a CPA. But when I took that CPA exam, there are 4 different exams in Washington State. I failed 3 of those exams. I did not pass them until my second try for 3 of the 4 exams. Guess what happened? I'm a CPA. The person, I don't have another one over on this side, but like somebody else that passed all their CPA exams with flying colors, the top of their class, 99%. Guess what they call them? A CPA. We're both CPAs. There's nothing on my thing that says failed 3 times. There's nothing on my thing that says you're a CPA, but you only know 76% of the material. Like, there is nothing on my license that says that I only got 3/4 of the questions right, but I'm still CPA. So like, I think it's important to understand that we don't always have to be perfect. And so I have more of a mindset of like 2/3 or 51%, majority rule. 70% is passing in school. So like, I want us to do our best. I want us to push ourselves to grow. I want us to push ourselves to get smarter and to work hard, but I don't want it to be so much that I can't give myself forgiveness for not knowing all the answers. Like, I'm still CPA. Straight A student is still CPA. There's no difference. And so I believe in this kind of like more consistently show up, do your best, and good enough is sometimes good enough. Like, passing the CPA exam, I did good enough. I did good enough to get their certificate, and that's all that matters. I have their certificate now. And so I think that like, this isn't like, again, I said, this is something that I believe in. I think that it's important to give and take on this. It's not always like, okay, we're at school and a 70 is good enough. No, if you're capable of getting more, if you're capable of having 100% in a class, if you're capable of this, then do that. But also, like, we are humans. We will make mistakes. I don't want perfection out of my kids. I want progress. I want you to work your hardest. If you worked your ass off and the best you could get was a 70%, then I'm really freaking proud of you, because that was your good enough. You did good enough to pass the class, and I'm proud of you for that. You did what you had to do to get by. And sometimes we have to be okay with that. And so for me, with a busy life of 4 kids and a house to manage and a business and all these different things, I have given myself grace to not always do everything perfectly. And in that grace to not always do things perfectly, I spend less time on that hamster wheel of like beating myself up for it. It's like, okay, whew, man, that sucks. That was only 70%. I believe I can do better than that. I can believe I can show up a little bit better for their games, or work on my calendar a little bit better so I don't miss things. I believe I can do a little bit better, but I'm not going to sit here for days on end beating myself up for the 20% I was off. Instead, I'm going to say, okay, but you got this much done, and that's pretty freaking awesome. Now, what can we do to just be a little bit better? So I have this mindset of the power of good enough. I have this power, this 2/3 consistent. Another thing that I really, really encourage with my kids is this community and support within each other. I make all my kids go to the other kids' games for the most part. Again, we're 2/3 consistent on is winning in my household, because there are things that come up. There's different parties that my one kid might want to go to, or I don't want to like not let them have opportunities to go do things, just to support their brother. But if there's nothing going on, nobody sits at home if somebody else has a game. We go to each other's games, we support each other in the games, we cheer each other on, because it's important. Like, to me personally, I feel like that community and support within your siblings is important. It teaches them that it's not always about you. It teaches them to celebrate other people's wins. It teaches them that it's not always your moment. Like, sometimes it's Brody's moment, sometimes it's Beckham's moment, and everybody gets to get excited about their moment. And it's so much more exciting to be excited about your moment when you have more people celebrating you in that moment. So you have a big win and all your brothers are sitting there cheering and standing up and being like, yes, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you. You're the best brother ever. You hit the 3 or whatever happened. Having that support makes that celebration for that person that gets to celebrate that much sweeter. And then you get to see what it's like to be on the other side. You get to see what it's like to support somebody that needs to be supported. You get to see what it's like to be like, this moment isn't about me, and it's still really cool that I get to support someone. So I really, really push my kids to support each other. They fight, they argue, they hit each other. They are boys, they wrestle, but when they're in the community, they have each other's back and they support each other like tenfold. And I encourage that. I not just encourage it. It's like, no, they have a game. You're going, you're coming. I don't care if you want to play Fortnite, you're going to go. And once they go, they end up being fine and cheering for their brothers. But every now and then they do try to want to push back. Like, I don't want to. Too bad. We're all going. We're all supporting each other because that's what family does. But it's not just about the family aspect. For me, it's about being able to teach my kids that to not be jealous of other people's moments, to learn how to celebrate other people in their moments, to learn how to console other people in their moments. I have this beautiful picture of my older son hugging my middle son after my middle son lost his football game. And his brother thought he had a basketball game. He didn't have his basketball game. It ended up getting canceled. He rushed back to the field so that he could watch the second half of his brother's game, end up losing by 1 point. Well, it's football, so it's not like 1 point's like, it's different than like basketball. 1 point's like, oh. Anyways, but he ends up losing. And as my middle son comes off the court or off the field, his brother just bear hugs him, and it's beautiful, beautiful moment. But it's because I encourage them to support each other in those moments, the ups and the downs. So they can learn that empathy and that excitement of not being the star or not being the ones that lost, and getting to support each other through that. The next one is that the gratitude. I really encourage my kids to do gratitude. So the way that I do that is on our Sunday dinner, or all our dinners, but not all dinners are always sit down together because we have sports almost every night. But when we are able to sit down at the table, whoever is there, what we do is we have this thing called best part of your day. So what is the best part of your day, and then what is the goal that you're working on. So everybody that's at the table goes around and talks about the best part of their day, and it's a really really cool time also for that same community aspect that I talked about in that one before, where the other kids have to learn how to shut up and listen to their brother and be engaged in their brother's best part of his day and what he's talking about, and listen to what was important to him, and not interrupt and not goof off and not get irritated that it's not their turn. So it's a great exercise that we do to help teach them to be patient, to be good listeners, and it gives everybody an opportunity to find things that they're grateful for. So we talk about the best part of your day. The best part of my day was recess. The best part of my day was so and so gave me their a keychain to put on my bag, or the best part of my day was when I got an A on my test. So they have always have different types of things, or what's the best part of your weekend or something. So we talk about the best parts of our day or the best parts of our weekend as a way to practice gratitude at our dinner table. And then also we talk about our goals for the week. So we talk about, this is what we do on mostly Sundays and Mondays, depending on if they're with their dad or not, but they'll come home, we sit down and we talk about our goal for the week. So I want to hit X amount of reading hours. I want to get faster at my sports stuff, or score more points in my game, or I want to score a basket. The twins have said that, like, I want to score a basket this weekend because they're new to basketball. But it's an opportunity for them to also support one another. So we talk about that gratitude, and we talk about those things that we have our goal, what our goals are, that we can check in with each other on our goals. Like, hey, how are you doing on your spelling test? You said you wanted to get 10 out of 10 this week. Have you been practicing your spelling words? And these are conversations that my kids actually have, because we know what the other person's goal is. And when you like share your goals, when you talk about your goals, when you put it out there with the people that you trust and love, and they have the opportunity to help hold you accountable, or to be like, hey, I know that this is your goal. I saw this that could help you with that goal. And so that's what we do for that gratitude and community connection, and just having that family unity and practice. Another thing that I do with my kids is chores. So I am working on implementing this better, and I've talked to my counselor about this, because when I'm in like a heightened state of anxiety, it's not really the time to teach kids how to do chores. But I have been being more proactive on having them do little things around the house. So they kind of have set things that they do. My oldest son has to clean his own bathroom. He's the only one that uses the bathroom in the very upstairs. So he cleans that one. The twins are in charge of emptying the dishwasher. The two olders are also in charge of loading the dishwasher. If I notice things need to be swept, I just ask them to sweep. Like, instead of just me doing it all the time, like a mom does, I'm starting to be like, no, like, they actually can't help with these things. And I thought it was going to be like this big ordeal to have to ask them and teach them. It really hasn't been that big of a deal. But something that I've learned is that I can monetize these things for them. So we were at a basketball game this last weekend, and it's kind of something I've been starting to do with the chore list, an age appropriate type of responsibilities, is they have kind of their core ones that they have to do. And that's just part of being in the household, which I feel like is really important, to not get paid for just some of the core things that we have to do in the household, because that's what they're going to have to do when they grow up. They're not going to get paid for taking out the garbage in a real household. So it's like, nope, we're all part of the household. We all help with these certain things. But if you want to go above and beyond and do something a little bit more, then yeah, like, we can talk about how I could pay you for that. So we were at a basketball game, and they wanted some snacks, and they wanted some money for snacks. And I was like, okay, I have $2. What could you do at the house for me? Could you empty the garbage cans in the bathrooms, or could you fold the towels, or what could we do? Like, let's negotiate here. So having those age appropriate responsibilities, and something that I've been implementing more recently on staying consistent with those, has really, really helped myself and my overwhelm, but also I think has helped them take a little bit more pride in things. For example, my youngest son, one of the twins, asked if he could help load the dishwasher. and he helped load the dishwasher, clean the sink was clean. He was feeling so proud of himself. And my other son came and put a dish in the sink. Oh my goodness, you should have heard. It was like me. It was like a mini me. He was like, I just did all those dishes, and you just come and put a dish in the sink like that when you could have put it in the dishwasher. And I was like, now they're starting to understand how frustrating it is that people don't take the extra step and just leave them for me to do. So having these age appropriate responsibilities for my kids has really, really helped. And like I said, I don't pay them for the things that are kind of the core things for the house. You can help sweep if I ask you to. You can help vacuum if I ask you to. You can help pick up the or wipe down the counters or the table. You can help with these little things that are messes that are the household responsibilities to be cleaned up. But if you want to go above and beyond outside of kind of those core things that you usually do, then yeah, I'll give you guys $2 for snacks at the basketball game, or I'll give you, we can negotiate like, oh, okay, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, that's worth $3 then. Oh, you're going to rake up the leaves and bag them up. Okay, then maybe we can do this. But there's certain things that like are just responsibilities of the house, because I don't want them to get in the habit of asking to be paid for things that are just responsibilities of the house. But I do engage in negotiating small amounts of money for things that are extra, not typical things of the household. Even raking leaves is just kind of like something that's like, that's just part of the household. Like you probably need to just do that. But they can offer different things like, oh, I could go and do this, or I could go clean up all this, or I can organize that. I don't know. But it gives us an opportunity on a financial aspect, and as like raising them to be adults, to negotiate too. Like, okay, well, I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z for this amount of dollars. Like, and we can go back and forth on like $3, $2, all right, $3.50. But it's a way for me to get some help in the household. It's a way for me to teach them some responsibilities, and it's really good for them. Like, and I know that's super hard, especially like for me as a single mom. I feel really guilty asking them to do things that I know. Well, I'm not single. I know I'm in a relationship, but just for like having this household by myself for so many years, is I always felt guilty asking them to do things that a man of the household would probably do. Like, I don't want to make them have to do that, because that's something that if I had a partner in the house would probably do. And so it's just now my responsibility to do because they're not here. And really, they don't have to understand or know any of that. They just have to know that like this is a chore of the household and mom has asked us to do it. And they take a lot of more pride in things. Like they've done studies about the importance of actually having chores for your kids, about having responsibilities, and how much better well adapted they are as adults for kids that have those chores, that have those responsibilities. So those are the 5 things that I do to help my kids grow into a better version of themselves. I model self-care. I implement this like 2/3 consistency, or 2/3 is good enough kind of mentality of like, I'm not always going to be on top of them getting stuff done perfectly. I'm not going to always have all the laundry done perfectly. I'm not going to always have my responses to things done perfectly. Like, but I'm going to do the best that I can, and I'm going to try and be at least over 51%. I'm going to be at least 70% of passing. I'm going to be at least 2/3, right? So how can I become a little bit better and at least make sure I'm doing more good more often than I'm doing bad? Communities, building community with the kids. So, and teaching them how to care about other people by making them go to each other's games, making them support each other, encouraging them to support each other. I shouldn't say make, by encouraging them to support each other. Having our best part of the day at dinner time. That's been really, really powerful for us to not only practice gratitude, but also practice goal setting and helping each other stay accountable and supporting each other in our goals. And then chores, having those age appropriate chores of the household that I do not pay them for, but offering up opportunities for them to make a few bucks outside of those chores with negotiating different tasks. So if you found these useful, please feel free to share them on your social. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms. We have Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, what else? TikTok, Facebook. Make sure you're following me everywhere. Make sure you're subscribed to my email list where I talk more about how to level up your life and quit your habits that aren't serving you. I talk about parenting. I talk about the holidays. There's so many things that are coming out on that email list. So make sure that you get subscribed to that newsletter. I'll drop a link for that below. But thank you again for joining me today for another episode of Addicted to Quitting. We're focusing on quitting the habits that no longer serve us so we can elevate our health, our habits, and our happiness. Congrats to all of you parents out there just crushing it. I know sometimes it's super heavy. I know it's hard. I know you feel invisible, but I see you and I believe in you. I believe in us. So keep going. All right. Those are my favorite quitters.